Okay, I'll explain. My friend Truly, she would have explained it by saying these are sound forms. Maybe you understand what sound forms are, maybe you don't. I don't know. But they're plasmas of sound rather than plasmas of light or other kinds of energy. But they're still in the electromagnetic spectrum. However, the neat thing about these sound forms is that they have what's called a corresponding, which is a resonant corresponding, which is in a, call it an overlay bonded frequency, which means essentially it's another layer of reality which isn't connected with this reality but overlays it one to one, point to point, which is really neat. It's on the grid. So what I do is I lay in a boundary. Those of you who understand what I'm saying, I appreciate that you do, and those of you who don't, please talk to the ones who do, who have a little more advanced knowledge of this stuff, because it should pass down like some filtering. Where was it? Oh, yes. So you get an intermediate layer also. The intermediate layer or a fractional layer, or you could do a diffraction, something like a fractal, kind of, but not really. It's sort of like like a pattern overlay. Oh, I know what it's like. I used to use my pantyhose in my darkroom. Well, you know how many times you have runs in pantyhose, especially in the '60s, right? And the kind of pantyhose I had were the kind you got like 3 pair for 99 cents. Okay, what can I tell you? And they were of course queen size, because even then I was a big girl, and so I had runs and stuff, and so I'd chop them up, and I'd use them for various things. Particularly, though, I'd use them for filter. I'd take these different kinds of pantyhose, different skeins of the thing, or no, there's different weaves, patterns, and I'd put them in my enlarger, and then I'd sandwich them with my negative in my glass plate. I use glass plate 4x5. So glass plate, and I sandwich the things in, so I'd have this kind of really gnarly texture in there. It looks gorgeous. I found out that that's the secret of the Bill Mortensen screens, in case somebody wants to know. Save yourself a few $100,000 on that. Well, because you don't have any more, because it's all Adobe Photoshop now. Nothing. Just press the button, no big deal. Yeah, in Adobe Photoshop, you find those things on there. Pretty much the same kind of effects are there, but it's not the same as ripping a pair of pantyhose and taking a section of it and sandwiching it in your enlarger and printing up a hell of a lot of beautiful portraits with this wonderful texture. That's different. Adobe Photoshop doesn't give you that effect. Still gives you the effect of the ripped pantyhose that you can never lose. Yeah. So, got it. Sound forms, yes. I was going to talk about ripped pantyhose there for a second. I was going to go off on that one. We saw the most gorgeous, speaking of pantyhose, the most gorgeous pair of pantyhose. Well, they're actually tights. They're performance tights, and they're glitter tights in large X's, large crisscross X's. And they were on Amy. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, fishnets with glitter and stars, and they're great. And with high boots, is great high boots also, which were lace-ups on the back. Great things. Oh man, boys don't notice that kind of stuff. They just see, nice, broad, good-looking, got breasts. If she got breasts, got a little bit of ass. Legs are good. Okay, fine. I'll bop her once and see if she's all right. Thanks a lot, buddy. Yeah, looking forward to that. You should hear Rhett Butler on the subject of men hitting her up. Oh, my God. Anyway, sound forms. So now, if I were talking to my friend Ophiel in the 1960s, he would have referred to them as not sound forms so much as thought forms, because to him, that was what they represented, was thought forms. He called them that because he was familiar with a system which was called theosophy. And in theosophy, thought forms were the big deal. And also, by the way, the same thing is true in Spiritism. Thought forms is a big deal. It's a big, important thing. They mean the same thing it doesn't matter what you call it. You call it a plasma, call it a thought form, call it a sound form, call it karma. You were waiting for that line. I held it back for it too. I just thought I'd wait, see if you actually were going to spring it yourself. Yeah. Yes. So in Ghostbusters, as a matter of fact, a movie we were just referencing there, in Ghostbusters, you see plasma being used, energized, and used, and collected, and directed, and so forth, as a weapon. But it also can be a very good healing thing. Anything that can be used as a weapon can also probably be used to heal. Anything that can be used to heal, some asshole can find out how to make it into a weapon. I call them assholes because I really want to be kind. Because I have other words for them, but asshole will do. You know, someone who takes a tool and turns it into a weapon shall be called pendejo, an asshole, a jerk. Because you don't need weapons. No, you don't actually need weapons. You know why? At the end of every war must come negotiation. Why then a war? A war to achieve a better position prior to negotiation, right? Right? There are ways of doing that without a war, without having a war. And many of the planets that I landed on were very receptive to that. This one I would doubt very seriously that anybody would take it further than just, oh, that's a nice idea, you know, because the distrust. See, when a society is not telepathic, the distrust level is very high. Trust issues are a big deal. When folks come to me, if they don't trust, if they're not able to trust, they can't tell the truth. If they can't tell the truth, then they can't be trusted with the truth. Can you dig what I'm saying? Yeah. And so nothing I do can change any of that. That's all by law. I got to watch somebody flush themselves down the toilet sometimes with dishonesty because they just can't grasp that they're responsible for themselves here. Yeah. So you want to do some good, you want to feel great, do some healing with the Didge. And you have a Didge now, presumably, so you can do healing with it. How exactly do you do it? Well, you create a sound form with the Didge. How do you do that? Well, let's try. Let's take a Didge that you'd be likely to have. I have here in my hand a natural wood mini Didge. I'm going to put it up to my lips, and then I'm going to aim the out part of the box, the exterior part, like this, the sound comes out of here. I'm going to aim that toward the microphone. Hopefully you will hear something. How's that, huh? Pretty good. I didn't do anything. I just waited to see if you were going to jump. Pardonnez-moi while I warm up the Didge. Okay, it's warm enough. So what you have there are two different sounds. Can you hear that? It's a lower sound, and then there's kind of a rattling sort of sound, like a rattling sound. Can you hear two different tones there? Wee, 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 like that. Can you hear that? You know, it doesn't all sound the same, does it? Homogeneous, no. That sounds more or less homogeneous. But it isn't actually. It varies, but pretty much.